The opening scene of the game that makes you vanish, You Are Here, sets the tone for the entire experience, establishing an atmosphere of unease, dislocation, and existential uncertainty. Unlike traditional horror games that rely on jump scares or overt threats, this scene immerses the player in a quiet but deeply unsettling space where the horror is psychological, embedded in the very fabric of the environment and the implications of the narration. The scene begins with the player standing in a dimly lit, nearly empty room. The lighting is unnatural, perhaps a sickly yellow or a flickering gray, casting long, ambiguous shadows. There are no decorations, no windows, just blank walls and a single door. The minimalism is oppressive, not freeing. It feels less like a blank slate and more like a cell designed to make you aware of your own confinement. The silence is punctuated only by the faint hum of electricity or the occasional crackle of distortion, as if reality itself is unstable. Then the voice speaks. It is distorted, sometimes robotic, sometimes eerily human, but always just slightly off, like a broadcast from a dimension where everything is almost but not quite right. It welcomes you to The Game That Makes You Vanish, a title that is both a promise and a threat. The phrase "You Are Here" might evoke the feeling of being marked on a map, but there is no map, no context. Just this room, this door, and the growing realization that you are part of something you don't understand. The horror of this moment comes from its vagueness. There are no monsters, no immediate danger, yet the implications are terrifying. The game's title suggests that participation will lead to disappearance, but what does that mean? Will you cease to exist? Will you become something else? Or is the vanishing more subtle? A slow erosion of self, a fading into the background of some unseen system. The voice doesn't explain. It doesn't need to. The dread is in the uncertainty. The hallway is where The Game That Makes You Vanish shifts from eerie suggestion to active psychological destabilization. After stepping through the first door in the opening scene, the player finds themselves in a long, narrow corridor lined with multiple doors, each identical, yet each promising or threatening something different. The space feels endless, like a looping prison of choices, and the lighting is dim, flickering, as if the entire structure is barely holding together. The voice returns, now more insistent, guiding, or perhaps mocking the player. It might say something like, "Go on, pick one. It doesn't matter." Or does it? But here's the cruel trick. None of the choices lead anywhere real. Some doors open into empty rooms where the walls seem to breathe or where the floor drops away into blackness. Others trigger glitches, warping the player back into the hallway as if they never left. A few play distorted audio clips, fragments of laughter, screams, or whispered phrases that feel like memories that don't belong to you. One door might even lead back to the same hallway, creating a recursive nightmare where every choice resets the game. This scene is a brutal commentary on false agency, the idea that we believe we're making meaningful decisions when, in reality, we're trapped in a system designed to erase us. The hallway is a metaphor for modern life's endless options, careers, identities, digital personas that ultimately leave us feeling hollow. Video game logic itself, where choice is often an illusion, a pre-programmed dead end. Mental health spirals, where every door represents a different coping mechanism, yet none lead to escape. The more doors you try, the more the game gaslights you. Maybe there was a correct path, and you missed it. Or maybe the whole point was to make you exhaust yourself, searching for meaning where there is none. By the time you've tried every door, the hallway itself starts to feel like a living thing, a maze that shifts when you're not looking. The voice might whisper, You can keep trying, but you've already lost. You just don't know it yet. And that's the true horror. The game isn't just making you vanish, it's making you complicit in your own disappearance. The moment you step into the TV room, the atmosphere changes. The air hums with the electric buzz of a cathode ray tube left on too long, flickering in the dark. The only source of light comes from the screen, an old television set, its display choked with rolling static, occasionally interrupted by jagged fragments of distorted imagery. A voice, neither human nor machine but something caught between, slithers out from the speakers. You are now part of the show. You don't exist anymore. This room is where the game that makes you vanish makes its central metaphor explicit. You are being absorbed. The television isn't just a device. It's a mouth, a black hole, a digital altar where identity is dismantled and repurposed as content. The static isn't empty. It's waiting to fill you. Key details deepen the dread. The screen doesn't just show noise, it reacts. When you move, the static warps, as if sensing your presence. Sometimes, a face, yours, someone else's, flickers in the distortion for a single frame before dissolving. The voice isn't addressing you. It's narrating you. The phrases loop, but each repetition feels less like a statement and more like a command rewriting reality. The room has no exit. Or rather, the exit only appears when the TV wants it to, reinforcing that you're now subject to its logic. The TV represents the consumptive nature of modern media, how it flattens the self into something passive, something watched. The line, "You are now part of the show," suggests you've become a character in a narrative you didn't consent to. This echoes real-world anxieties about social media, surveillance capitalism, and the way algorithms fragment human experience into data. Unlike traditional horror's use of static as a veil hiding monsters, here the static is the monster, an active erasure. It doesn't conceal, it replaces. In older analog horror, static was a liminal space where signals crossed. Think The Ring or Local 58. Here, it's where you cross over, from participant to prisoner. The phrase, "you don't exist anymore," isn't just ominous. It's bureaucratic, like a system confirming your deletion. The horror isn't that you're dead, it's that you've been repurposed. This mirrors the game's larger thesis. Vanishing isn't about disappearing, but about being made into something else without your consent. The first thing you notice is that the mirror is broken, not shattered dramatically, but fractured in a way that suggests careful, almost surgical damage. A spiderweb of cracks distorts the reflection, splitting your image into jagged, disjointed pieces. The glass is dark, as if the mirror isn't reflecting the room so much as something else just beyond its surface. When you move, your reflection doesn't follow. Instead, it lingers, just a half second too slow, a half step out of sync. Maybe it tilts its head when you don't, maybe it smiles. Then the voice comes, not from the room, but from inside the mirror itself, whispering, "You're not real anymore." This scene weaponizes one of humanity's oldest fears, the doppelganger. Mirrors are supposed to be truth-tellers, but here the mirror is a liar, or worse, it's telling a truth you don't want to accept. Key details amplify the horror. The reflections lag. Your movements are mimicked, but imperfectly, as if whatever is on the other side is learning how to be you, or unlearning how you are you. The cracks don't just distort, they divide. Your face, your body, are split into fragments, suggesting a self that's already coming apart. The voice isn't external. It comes from inside the mirror, implying that the you on the other side is the one speaking, and it knows more than you do. The cracks in the mirror literalize the psychological concept of dissociation, the feeling of being fractured, unreal, or detached from oneself. This isn't just about a dark twin, it's about the terror of realizing you no longer recognize yourself. The reflection's delayed movements evoke the horror of imposter syndrome made literal. What if the you that others see isn't the you that you know? What if, at some point, it replaces you? This ties into the game's broader theme of vanishing, not through sudden erasure, but through slow, imperceptible replacement. In folklore, mirrors are often portals, e.g., Bloody Mary, Snow White. Here, the mirror doesn't lead anywhere. It simply shows you what's already happening. You're not crossing over. You're already on the other side. The staircase appears suddenly. Or perhaps it was always there, hidden in plain sight. It spirals upward into darkness, steps warped and uneven, like the bones of some long-dead beast. The voice, now thinner, more distant, murmurs, "Keep climbing. It's the only way to win." But with each step, the air grows heavier. Your legs burn. You count the steps, 10, 20, 50, but the landing never comes. The walls, damp and peeling, seem to breathe. When you glance back, the stairs below have vanished, swallowed by the dark. And then, after what feels like hours, you see it. The same cracked tile, the same flickering light. You've been here before. The voice, now a whisper inside your skull. There is no way out of the game. This scene weaponizes inescapable repetition, trapping the player in a Sisyphean nightmare. Key details amplify the dread. The architecture defies logic. The staircase twists at impossible angles, steps shifting subtly each time you pass them. Time distorts. Your movements slow, as if the air has turned to syrup, yet the climb feels endless. The voice shifts from mocking to pitying. It knows you'll never stop trying. Like a toxic job, a bad relationship, or addiction, the staircase sells the lie that just one more step will change everything. It never does. The game mocks the player's determination, reducing effort to absurdity. The vanishing steps below mirror how the past dissolves when stuck in a loop. Memories blur and identity erodes. This connects to the mirror scene. If the reflection showed a fractured self, the staircase enacts that fracture through exhaustion. The screen flickers violently, as if reality itself is losing signal. The edges of your vision darken, pixel by pixel, like a corrupted file decaying. The voice, now stripped of any pretense of humanity, reduced to a glitching monotone, delivers its verdict. Congratulations, you have vanished. And then, nothing. Not blackness, not silence, nothing. This isn't a traditional ending, it's an unmaking. Key elements heighten the horror. The world doesn't fade, it unravels with polygons stretching into oblivion and textures dissolving into digital noise. The voice's final words stutter and repeat. Vanished, vanished, vanished before cutting abruptly, mimicking a system purge. Even the HUD disintegrates. Health bars, interaction prompts, all consumed by the void. You're not just dying, you're being deleted. The congratulatory tone mirrors how modern systems, social media, capitalism, frame self-destruction as achievement. You've reached zero inbox. You've optimized yourself away. The player doesn't lose, they fulfill their purpose as designed. Unlike death in most games, this isn't a reset, it's a full stop. The horror lies in the player still being present to experience their own erasure. This mirrors real-world depersonalization disorders, where sufferers feel like spectral observers of their lives. Earlier scenes teased disappearance, TV absorption, mirror fractures. Here, the game makes good on its promise, not with spectacle, but with terrifying absence. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next one. Bye for now.